it's such a wonderful initiative, and all credit to Anthony Waldron, because he brings us all together as a community. And I'm still, I hear the words of Paula, join our boys about her sons, and like that chimes with my own experience and our family's experience. So it's a great way for people to come together and to mobilise that community spirit so that we can help each other. And it's a great civic thing, but it's a great example of mehel, that unique Irish characteristic. I think, mental health issues, disability issues, they're things that impact on every household in the country. And, thankfully, most of us are hale and hearty, but at some point each of us will experience a disability or some level of disability. And it's then that you'll appreciate the little supports like occupational therapy, physiotherapy, home health, home care packages. These are the things that keep us, living in dignity, fully self-actualized lives in our homes, and keeps us out of the institutions. And it's as George Lee once said about the economy, it's a no-brainer. We just need to pull together and work on these issues. Well, we need to make it obligatory on the state to provide the services and therapies that are required for people. In the past we relied on the church and clerical institutions and voluntary groups and charities, but we're a modern 21st century democracy, and we need to be like the rest in the European Union. We need to be consistent with best practice, and the state should support us all in these areas. In the same way that we provide street lighting, education, housing, these are social goods, and we need to do it centrally, and it should be a basic human right. It shouldn't be an act of charity or something that you might be lucky to get. We all need it. It's a fundamental human right. It's a human need.
I think it was just so lovely to be invited by Anthony Waldron and have the opportunity to speak at what is a very, very important event for the community and wider community of Galway and Roscommon. And Anthony had asked me to talk about the trust, but then when I looked at the programme and the whole thing about rural creativity and looked at some of the other speakers like Fabian, I realised that if there was a way for me to connect the story of Archie, George and Isaac and the disease that they have and their Archie's passion, which was music, one of his passions, it might be a way of trying to think about ways we can help everybody access music and help improve physical and mental health, because there's a lot of research about that. So it was just a really wonderful opportunity, and I'm so glad to have met some wonderful people. The charitable trust field is awfully crowded, and there are so many good causes, and we're always amazed that people think of the trust and think of the boys and still understand how awful Duchenne muscular dystrophy is. And ultimately what we want to find a treatment that will prolong the life of the children and young adults living with this, what is a catastrophic muscle wasting disease. And to know that your children are sick, but then to lose a child at 16 years of age when he seemed so well and had so many dreams and ambitions for life and such a zest for life, it's very, very distressing. But to have the opportunity to keep Archie's memory alive and to try and build on his legacy, because Archie was all about fun, music, noise, and community. He loved his community. He was a proud Rossi. And it's just a wonderful experience to think about him and to share stories and anecdotes about his life.
So stand up, we urge you to answer our call. Every man, every woman, please help us stand tall. To the eyes of a child so pure and sincere, let's all come together and show them we care. So come, join our boys. Yes, please, come join our boys. We need warriors now and armies of men to come and join our boys. With hope in our hearts and tears in our eyes, we pray the future is bright for every child. Full of laughter and running and fun things to do, and we thank you so dearly for helping us through. So come join our boys. Yes, please come join our boys. We need warriors now and armies of join our boys. As I hold up my hand and I ask you to join me, yes please, come join our boys.
The overall concept is brilliant. It's about promoting the Roscommon Galway area, the whole region around the Suck Valley Way, promoting the sporting, I suppose, tourism, industrial, historic potential that's there because of the beauty of the area and so forth, and all the amenities that we have, which perhaps have been underdeveloped over the years. But also, I thought was really interesting today was that the theme today was very much around disability and also mental health. And while there's always a lot of publicity about disabilities and so forth, it was really interesting to hear stakeholders who have expertise and knowledge in this area leave us under no illusions that Ireland is still way behind most of its European counterparts in terms of how we, I suppose, cater for and provide for people with disabilities. So it's quite an eye-opener, despite all the publicity that's there on an ongoing basis throughout a given year. It was very interesting, excellent speakers, and a lot of interesting issues raised. You know, when we give out about politicians and we give out about the government of the day and ministers, that's easy to do, you know. At the end of the day, communities have to do their bit as well. And there's a great spirit of volunteerism in rural Ireland. And communities do wonderful work, but every little bit helps, every little extra helps. And in this instance, thanks to Anthony Waldron and the committee, I suppose they're being proactive. And from a small beginning, really, in the last couple of years, you can see the potential of this conference. It's about, you know, networking. I suppose it's about getting guest speakers in who have expertise. It's about raising issues. And I mean, there's always going to be just a net benefit by bringing up these issues and by getting people together. I think there's always going to be net gains to be made. So it's about creating awareness and seeing the potential for developing the potential of the area.
So the Melting Pot was started in 2005. It was really a brainchild of Andy McDonald's, and he works with the HSE in Clarina House down there. So he thought of it somewhere to go, somewhere to volunteer, somewhere to get experience, get your legs under you again. Like if you've had a difficult time, like, you know, it's just to give you a bit of a boost, you know, to get you back into the community. So that was really the genesis of it, and then it just kind of turned into the internet cafe. They have a kitchen there. They do dinners, they do sandwiches, And we people have volunteered, so people like help in the kitchen, do the dishes, or they can help serve people. We have a charity shop, we have people donate as well, like, so it's very good. Like, we have the community hub there as well, which is what I'm involved with as well mostly. It gives you a little bit of a boost as well, like, you know, if you come in here, like, you also you meet people who have maybe the same experience as yourself, and it's good to kind of like get ideas from them, like how you recover and how you stay on the right path, you know, like, and you know, even if you fall back as well, it's nice to have a bit of support to get back up again, you know. So it's good to link in with the community like that. Like, it's great. So I would have been an outpatient. I still am an outpatient of Roscommon, the mental health services. So I've used them myself. I'm still using them. So I know that there is quite a big demand for it, especially like, you know, in the county itself. Like, even in the smaller towns. I'd be from Balladreen originally, so it's hard enough to access things like the melting pot when you're further away. So hopefully we can maybe spread it out a bit as well, so it's not just in one town, you know. But it's great that they can connect with us, like they can get the bus here. Like, so we had the group that was playing today, they were from Boyle, from Strokestown, from Castlerea. So it was great that we all got together, you know, and even some from Balladreen as well. Like, so it's brilliant. There's no limit on like on age. There's no, you know, you don't have to be a certain age. You don't have to be any good at it either. Like, you know, you can just do your thing and it's accepted. You know, there's no pressure. That's the main thing really. There's no pressure on how good it has to be or anything like that. Like, get your voice. Sometimes people who come in, they can't really speak. You know, they don't know what to say. Best of times, like, you know, so when they come in like that, like they get their kind of confidence back. You know, especially in a group session like that, and it's smaller as well with the therapy. So it's good for them. Like, it's a good. It's something good for them to do, like, really, to get the feedback on them, to be able to say what they want to say, express themselves. They can't say it out from their mouth with words, they'll say it with the drum, you know, so it's brilliant, you know.
I suppose the therapeutic drumming has been a big success. We started this time last year, Joe.
Yeah.
We got funding through Mental Health Ireland, the Melting Pot and the HSE, and we did drumming sessions in the psychiatric unit in
Roscommon and the Melting Pot.
And the Melting Pot.
Several HSE training centres around the Roscommon region. I imagine when we both started, you had to go off and do your course on the therapy side
That's right.
of percussion.
That's right.
I didn't think there was such a thing, but you know, you live and learn. I was doing the performance side, but the therapeutic side is so unusual and unreal that you're using this thumping to get.
Yeah, so I suppose to make the distinction between what therapeutic drumming is and what performance drumming is, so I would have done the therapeutic drumming and Joe does the performance drumming. So really, therapeutic drumming is a kind of a social and emotional model. So it allows people to connect with their own heart, their own voice, through the drums and express how they're feeling and what their emotions are. So you can imagine from a mental health point of view, which we predominantly work in, if somebody has experienced trauma and they haven't accessed their voice,
Yeah.
or they don't even know, Joe, that they have a voice,
Yeah.
and they start to work with the drum.
Or are afraid to use their voice, they can then use the drum as their voice.
That's it.
That's now their mouthpiece. And it does actually work. Some of the lads, we were getting them to express feelings and different things, and well, Pauline had written this stuff up, and they could actually take back power by rubbing drums. It was unbelievable. It was an eye-opener for me, because, well, Pauline, like I say, does all the therapeutic side. The other side, the performance, it lets them go wild then. Everyone can just do whatever they like. But the therapy end, you don't have to have any knowledge of music or knowledge of anything else.
That's it.
You just use percussion as a therapy, and you're using sort of percussion to get social goals from non-social instruments. You know what I mean?
It
That
is
type
like
of thing.
yeah, you're right, Joe. It's like a social medicine. So
Yeah.
really, you know, if we look at our current times, you know, there's a lot of psychological issues. There's a lot of people who are in social isolation. There's an awful lot of people who are in distress. So the drums are one way of opening up your mouth, opening up your voice. And I suppose, you know, the beauty of the drum circle is it mirrors our communities. So everybody in the drum circle is equal. Everybody has a voice. So you don't have to, it's not like performance drumming. You don't have to be able to sing, but everybody's voice is important. And when you sit in that drum circle, and the minute you hit that drum, you're in.
You're
so
in then.
from a social point of view, there's no big rules around getting social. You
No,
just
there's
bang
no
the
rules at
drum
all.
and you're in.
And the drum even has a face and a mouth. The bottom of the drum is a mouth. So you're letting out your, you know, some lads may not have spoken for a long time, may have been isolated. COVID could have isolated them. All sorts of things could isolate them. But the drum is now your mouthpiece. And it could be a small drum, whatever it is, or the percussion side of things. And it's also very, especially the therapeutic side, you're still being fairly technical with it. It's not just, come on lads, we need beat drums. You're doing everything for a reason. A lot of scenarios are put forward, especially by Pauline, and I suppose from the course you did in Belfast, that there's a method in this madness. You know, it's not going to, come on and we'll bait these jokes. It's not that. You can do a bit of that in your performance stuff just to release a bit of tension if you want to. But really and truly, it's almost empirical, you know, it's learned along the way, and you have to stick to certain procedures, you know, and it can be very emotional.
That's it, and it's a way, I suppose, of social and emotional regulation. So, for instance, on the Suck Valley Way Day, what we did is, with the group, you brought up the emotions. You imagined, you know, anger, because in mental health service, we have an awful lot of people that are angry with no way to express it because we've experienced trauma. So the drums are a safe way, like we did on the day of the Suck Valley Way. We brought up the emotions, brought up the anger. We held it as a group in that liminal space, and then we were able to calm it all down. So we're able to show people that you can get angry, but you can equally just calm it all
Everyone,
down.
yeah.
And
you
we all need to be able to do that in life, not just people in mental health services.
Yeah.
So there is a structure to it. It has a voice, and you know, I could only say it's fun. It's not formal as well. That's the difference, isn't it? A lot of things in mental health, it's fairly serious.
It's very formal. You have to be down the line. With this percussion bit, while it's structured, there is a certain degree of formality about it. There are times when you're going to be sad, but that's what you want for your emotions, you know, from both ends of the spectrum, happy, sad, somewhere in the middle. You know, the big thing at the minute, it's okay to be not okay. I happen to think it's also okay to be okay, but that's, you know, whatever way you want to look at that one. But this percussion, it really does let people out there, and I hope we get a lot more of it. Now, we were very lucky in Roscommon. We got great grants. The council helped us, Mental Health Ireland helped us, through the Melton Pot we got grants. We're trying now for a performance section altogether that'll be just ordinary music. You know, get a few guitars, get something else, get people playing, and then maybe introduce the drums for that, you know, along with it. Hopefully that's what'll all happen. But
and just to say, I suppose, that the beauty of the drum, the therapeutic, you don't have to sing, you don't have to dance, you don't have to be musical. You just sit in the group as an equal and you express your voice. And some people hadn't expressed their voice for 20 years, hard to believe, maybe some 30 years, maybe some 40 years.
it's true.
And just even to realise that they had a voice, to locate it, and then to learn how to use it, and then express it as an individual and be part of that bigger group. And from a social point of view, if I don't want to talk to Joe, but I bang my drum and we're together in this circle. And then we're together, because if you look at mental health, it means that we're often separated from ourselves, from our communities and societies. With the drum, you're in with yourself, the community and society in an instant.
And away you go.
Stigma gone.
Yeah.
Support this journey we're on, along the Suck Valley Way, today and every day. As we walk through bogs, callows, woodlands, farms, through towns of Ballygar, Craigs, Glynts, Ballymoe, Ballintubber, Dunaman, Castlecoot, Atleague, Mount Talbot and Castlereagh. We're a clan that is devoted, compassionate. We're this Drummond circle, rhythm to recovery. Today we won't hurt each other. We'll not run from each other. There'll be no pretending, no fear. Just playfulness, stillfulness, fun and laughter.
It's lovely to be here in Roscommon. It's only my second time here in Roscommon, but Gleason's a lovely family business. But the occasion and the conference that Anthony has put forward is fantastic, and to be asked to speak at something like this, just again, I suppose I got into politics in 2004. I'm just an ordinary guy, but I had my own disability, I had my own challenges, but I was working with people with disabilities in a social enterprise and part of a bigger organisation. and I got to see the challenges at first hand, even to the situation of housing and getting people to, and like they were at the bottom of some of the lists, and through that, and in various counties, I was lucky. I worked in Galway and had great success in Galway, where I suppose 3 families were lucky enough to get housing because of I was able to convince, and I mean convince, the people in the local authority to allocate these houses to particular families that had the challenges of people with disabilities. The challenges are huge, but really, I suppose, as a previous speaker has said, it's the ability, the disability. It's turning the word can't into can. And that's really important for me, turning the word can't into can, because everyone has a story, everyone has ability, and be it in the music or be it in anything. And I found that really working with people with disabilities was massive for me. But also the challenges. Look at people in your own area, look at the footpaths. As a local authority member, I look at the footpaths, I look at accessibility, I look at buildings. And in this stage, like, you see buildings where people with disabilities, be it wheelchair users, or be it elderly people, because growing old is also a bit of a disability as well. It's a great challenge, and we all say, and we like to see granny and granddad and all that, but are we sure they can get into different places? We see even the same thing happening within the GAA at the moment, where now everything is cashless. And older people who always like to go to their little matches, or to go to their matches, and even older people going this weekend, they've had to pre-purchase their tickets for the Roscommon Mayo match, and that's a big challenge. But we as a local authority, and I as president of the Local Authorities Association of Ireland, I want to see disability and the challenges that people are facing to the forefront of each of the local authorities. There's 31 local authorities in Ireland, and each of them have a particular budget. They need to be spending it, they need to be developing policies, and they need to be engaging with the wider community of people with disabilities, the organisations, but also the individuals. I'm very lucky and very fortunate in Kilkenny County Council. We're employing a number of people with disabilities. In the first 2 people you meet when you come into Kilkenny County Council into our is Aidan and Tom, 2 absolute gentlemen who have their own disabilities, but there's their ability that wins out. Their ability is massive. So again, we're into challenges, but we're up for the challenge. And each of the 31 local authorities, when they go to their budget, they need to be asking, how many houses with accessibility are we going to build? How many of our buildings, how many of our libraries, and all the different, and then how much of our footpaths are dished. It's not good enough just to widen them, but they need to be dished for wheelchair users, and even for the buggies that are using them. And people with disabilities also have children as well that they need to help as well. So that's where I'm coming from.
I think about the place I love. I wish I could take flight to the county of Roscommon, in Gem of the West, and walk along Suck Valley Way, the place I love the best. I dream about the riverbanks, the lakes and forest green, farmlands that we walk across, the likes you've never seen. And all the friendly people there who try to make you stay. There's no place on earth that's like my own Suck Valley Way. From Mount Talbot on to Castlereagh, see the waters flow through Glimskin Crags and Ballygar and League and Ballymoe. Then now and then to Castlefoot, so often we would go, and the lovely Ballador, it will set your heart aglow. I dream about the river mines, the lakes and forest green, farmlands that we walk across, the lakes you've never seen. And all the friendly people there who try to make you stay. There's no place on earth that's like my own Suck Valley Way. Suck Valley, you that teach me how to ramble free and roam, with forest bogs and ancient walks where kestrels have their home. Then again the dream came to an end and I was all alone. I awoke in my Australian bed 10,000 miles from home, and dream about the riverbanks, the lakes and forest green, farmland and we walk across the lakes you'd never see. And all the friendly people there who try to make you stay. There's no place on earth that's like my own, so that's one. Well, I dream about the riverbanks, the lakes of Forest Green. Farmlands and we walk across the lakes you'll never see. And all the friendly people there, it's way to make you stay. There's no place on earth that's like my own Suck Valley Way. Well, there's no place on earth that's like my own Suck Valley Way. What a backing!